is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the third album, the supposed third album by Novi Novak. Basically, this project is called Villainism, and it came out in the summer of 2013. So the thing about this particular project here is also within these pairs, Novi Novak was known later on throughout like the late 2010s forward as Rob Level as far as this particular pitch is going to happen. But this was supposedly like his third album as far as this pitch is going to happen now. I look on Spotify as I listened to this project, and it particularly said that maybe possibly this was originally a mixtape as far as this fair is going to happen just within. His project was maybe possibly a mixtape on Dat Piff and some of those type places back in the day as far as this particular fair is going to happen just in the aspects behind it. This might have been a free project as far as this pitch kind of went, some good type tones, but wound up becoming an album later just within the pitch. And some pretty excellent type fair. This is some pretty excellent type fair. This is a classic here. This is definitely, I think that this, despite the fact that it's a little bit more melded and a little bit more cooler, calmer minded, more sedate within the pitch behind it, it is a classic here to be able to get those aspects. I mean, it doesn't have like it's a little bit different from like the tone. Novi Novak is not quite as much within the similar type pitch of Drake, like from like the Young Money and early 2010s days of songs like Money to Blow and like For My Town, some of those type of ones, the hooks that he did for Birdman and Young Money in like late 2009, early 2010. Some of the hooks and fairs he did for Young Money and Birdman in late 2009, early 2010 was just in the pitch as far as saying that the new particular style that there's some similar fashions to, not to say like it's biting within those pitches, but it just has some similar fashions would be J. Cole, particularly the Cole World kind of sideline story type projects, a little bit within the pitch. Now, there also were some traces, like not like this album is not as much recovery like as far as those pitches going to happen. This is kind of an album that came out right before it's kind of an album that came out right before like the Marshall Mathers LP2 from like the fall of 2013. It has a pitch like Dragon Sneeze is very similar to Rap God's, an interesting type pitch that Novi Novak kind of went ham on like an over 6 minute song in like the summer of 2013, just a couple months before Eminem did like the same thing on Rap God. So it's an interesting type pitch. Kind of get that particular fair considering I don't know if that song, I don't know if Rap God was out in August of 2013, but it's just with the pitch as far as saying some good aspects there that Novi Novak particularly beat Eminem to the punch. But yeah, this is a good aspect for like some contemporary typeness, but it just kind of goes with the trends a little bit where the early 2010s kind of Drake and Young Money type style is just not as melded with this particular project as Full Bound. It does have a few of those steppers on here, but more of that mixtape type format. It just feels a little bit more backpacker within a sense of more coffee shop and mudhouse type pitch. It's just within the tone. It does have 3 singles, which is some excellent type fare. Once again, there's really only one song out of these 15 songs in this particular album that I don't recommend. There is one skit. So there's actually 16 songs, but minus the one skit, there's 15. Wound up recommending basically 14 out of 15 on here. So this album's going to get a 10 out of 10 just within the pitch behind it. Some excellent type fare, especially considering that this might have been a mixtape on Dat Piff back in the day. Just some real excellent vicious type of feel that this does feel like an album within the pitch behind it. This had the standard promotion, even though not as commonplace knowledge is really known about like Novi Novak's full discography as far as this pitch can happen. I mean, there's some ones. I want to say that Novi Novak possibly dropped an album in 2014 or a mixtape in 2014 as far as this pitch can happen. I want to say at least the mixtapes continued throughout the early 2010s. I'm not as full bound sure. There might have been an EP or 2 in there as well. Like I did review one of those with Jackal Goldcake back in early 2022 as far as this pitch kind of went. The Aura of a Supervillain, which is on his particular channel. It's in the Novi Novak playlist on this particular YouTube channel. Has some good type pitches. This is like my 4th Novak review as far as this pitch can happen. But just get to some more tones behind this. This excellent type fare. This kind of aspect. This has some good. It has some good context if you know to have some of this. This has like the underground type fashion behind it, but it does have some good grasp for like some commercial type sense. Just very much then just basically songs like in a lot of senses. If you listen to some of these, you probably would think that this is just a J. Cole leftover as far as some of those pitches kind of having just one of his cuts from like one of his more kind of thought-provoking type albums like Born Sinner, Cole World as far as those pitches kind of having just within the tone behind it. Just very similar to those type fashions. Just more kind of mudhouse type music and just bookshop. It's not to say full bound. It does have a little bit of that urban grime on here, but it's just kind of within the pitch. It just kind of being with a more big city type fashion, just in a crisper type sense. It just kind of, it's not so much like a summer type album. Songs like Dragon Sneeze are in very short supply on this album, which is very unfortunate because it's kind of the concept. I mean, Novi Novak will occasionally do songs like that, songs like Hooked on the Feel, and there's like another song, songs like Hooked on the Feel and Bang This as far as those pitches can happen. But within a certain sense, I know that Novi Novak a lot of times tries to put out more balanced type products. So he will have turn-up songs, but he doesn't pack like 6, 7, 8, 9 of them within the pitches as far as those pitches can happen. It's the same thing with this particular album. So you do get like a balanced breakfast to say within those particular pitches behind. But this is a classic here, one of Novi Novak's best. But basically, I do remember giving both Theory of Cognition and Hibernations over pretty high scores as well. I think Theory of Cognition I gave at least over a 9 out of 10 or an 8.75 out of 10. I definitely gave like Hibernations over over a 9.5 out of 10. So it's just in the pitch. But this one outstrips both of those. Go ahead and say I think you can tell that 14 out of 15 is basically like a 10 out of 10. But basically, there were 3 singles off this product, one of which has over 270,000 plays on Spotify, so some good type pitches there. The lead single seemingly is Friends and Enemies. It's like a brushy kind of pop rap commerce kind of get here, just regular day kind of makeshift, I'd had to say. Regular day kind of makeshift ambition, I would feel like definitely, and this is a song that adapts the recovery style within the pitch behind it. There's not a ton of real recovery, there's not as many recovery similarities out this particular product. Doesn't really try to do that particular type style within the pitch. It just like those pop rap kind of makeshift type songs within that relative sense, more within the more backpacker, just kind of more coffee shop type fashion within a lot of these cooler, crisper type ones for like overcast days. But it's just in the pitch that this is a traditional type fare, or just something that just feels like a more kind of sort of lead single that Eminem would have done possibly had he dropped an album like in the summer of 2013 or like the summer of 2012. Some of those type pitches that just feels like something that's just kind of like left over from like that makeshift, left over like that hustle kind of mixtape makeshift from like 2010, 2011, but just with a little bit more composed kind of upright kind of, than a relatively kind of mostly upright kind of bustle type mode of just getting to it and snapping to it as far as this pitch kind of happens. So it is the ambition type one to kind of get just from the aspect. It's just good productive commerce, I'd have to say. It definitely feels like an Eminem leftover, which is some pretty good pitch considering the fact that Novi Novak has really never had any charting songs on like standard kind of Billboard commerce as far as this pitch kind of happens. It's good type tone. What you got to say now is the next single. Now these are not necessarily full bound singles, but they did all 3 of these songs, Friends and Enemies. What you got to say now, and sometimes I get so low, all had music videos. So it's just within the pitch that these were music videos, or these were singles within the pitch. Just kind of concept for Underground, it's just within the pitch of just saying music videos, but those were basically the singles. So what you got to say now is a nice one. It's like a jazzy kind of gospel like city hop to kind of get here, just some good step out. I would definitely feel like gives hella J. Cole vibes about this particular one. Just feels like something he would have done off of Cold World once again. It's like some good Denzel Washington movie outs to kind of get within some of those type pitches. Some of those type ones where it just would be like a more saloon type spot, just with a more concept of where there'd be like some sort of bar fight or just a concept of this big talking, just some concepts of just some money moves, pitches like that, some of those type tones of just like this really having the concept of being a little bit more productive. This goes pretty much hand in hand with like Friends and Enemies. These are both more powerhouse type ones for just the aspect of just getting larger and just increasing level up type fare within the pitch behind it. But it's just the aspect as far as saying that this is a little bit more recreational. Friends and Enemies just a little bit more of like a car commerce kind of outing type one to kind of get for like Traverse, and this one's a little bit more of like this standard gab and just chit chat within the aspect, just like some maybe grabbing a drink or two, but just the concept of just like maybe business that hands some of those type pitches, but just does it like a real kind of Denzel movie kind of just jazz, just real jazz and spiffy kind of pizzazz behind it. It's just one of those type ones that just feels like something that like definitely that J. Cole would have done off of Cold World, or like Frank Ocean from like the Watch the Throne type project. This really has some 2011 type flavors. Some of the songs off of like Watch the Throne, like No Church in the Wild, and then like some of the songs off of Cold World, some of those type pitches. So it's good type tone for that. Sometimes I get So Low is a real nice one as well. This is like a moody kind of down in the dumps kind of ruminate to kind of get here. Definitely some J. Cole tints about this one. It's like a Drury kind of slog day kind of city track kind of house. It's just within the pitch behind it. You know, sometimes I get So Low is just a typical kind of slog day kind of city track, just within the aspects behind it as far as those pitch kind of go. Just the backpacker type fare, just within the aspects of some of these. You know, just typical kind of city jurors as far as those pitches kind of happen with it. Just standard kind of extra thoughts kind of rumination. Some of these type fares behind it, these are just kind of songs that you would listen to just within the concept, but not so much getting ready for some step out within those particular type fares, but just the concept of this it's kind of mundane type errands, just usual day type fare within the pitch, or just like a typical kind of woozy, or just overall this standard slag type aspect, like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, where you do have more stuff to do within the following days and pitches like that, but just kind of a concept, maybe just the extra time and just like some time to kill as far as this pitch kind of goes. So it's just within the tone behind it, just good moments for that, but some of these are just a little bit more slummish and moody type ones kind of get within those aspects. So that's one of which. So that's just kind of tone. So basically, the only real song I don't recommend out this album in any fashion is just All I'm Told Is, which basically that one was just kind of like a kind of city romp type one that just felt that was just a really kind of jubilant type one, and normally I would prefer jubilant type songs, but that just the pitch behind that one just felt, the frivolity behind that one was just kind of an offshoot of most of the kind of quality about the album as far as this pitch can have, and just didn't have the same appeal and overall pizzazz about it. I just would have to say it was just kind of a concept. it just didn't nail the energy of the vibe, particularly what it was trying to do. It felt like one to just kind of be more free thinking as far as this pitch gonna happen, but just the vibe as to how that particularly happened just was not as executed as well. This album still gets a 10 out of 10, just would stay within the pitch behind it. So we'll just go down the list with some of these as far as what's first gonna happen. So basically one of the most immediate songs on here, I would say in terms of like the turn up type sense, Friday type fare, Thursday type fare, Saturday type fare would be Dragon Sneeze. Like a good lyrical snarl about this one, just excellent turn up definitely. Throwback Novak to kind of get here to some of those type ones like Hooked on the Feel and Bang This, some of those type fares that I'd say just needed a few more of these on this particular album. I'd definitely say pretty litty type one. So this one is almost 7 minutes of just like vicious type snarls for us this pitch to kind of go along with it. Just a good concept here. Very interesting that Novi Novak managed to pull off a song like this, just going in with some damage as far as this pitch happened just basically less than 3 months before Eminem dropped Rap God just in the pitch. These are like very two similar songs. Interesting type pitch that Novak managed to do that within those fares. It's just interesting. I do think Eminem has to, in some sense, probably know about some of his offshoots within some of those aspects of this. It's not to say Novak is like a full bound kind of offshoot to Eminem, but the similarities probably are there within the pitches behind it. Novak definitely has had some similar type of appeals with albums, but Novi Novak has definitely had some similar type of appeals to projects by Eminem, like Recovery. Definitely, that was just Recovery. Obviously, was like a huge staple out of the early 2010s. This one that helped meld things within a particular style that continues to be in pop rap nowadays. That I'd say was just in the pitch. That this is just one that definitely has some similar fashion. So this is definitely one of the most vicious ones on here. Just real nice nightclub type song, kind of get within those tones. Mind Playing Tricks is another immediate highlight to kind of get here. This is one that's pretty similar to Friends and Enemies, just a little bit more balance of like some turn up in minds, like a vintage kind of early 2010s pop rap highlight to kind of get within those aspects. Feels like a buzz single here definitely, and it's like some starry kind of city weavings. Kind of have. Yeah, Mind Playing Tricks just feels like a vintage kind of early 2010s NY type highlight. It's very similar to like Blueprint 3, some of those type pitches like Novi Novak's early days, just within the fair behind this typical kind of early 2010s mixtape type fair to kind of get within some of those aspects. Definite good buzz single kind of have within some of those type pitches. Good 1-2 punch with songs like Dragon Sneeze and Friends and Enemies, some of those type fairs I'd have to say. Another one that has that particular type of appeal, some of that relative turn up type sense would be Welcome to the Mixtape. Now this is a good quality here just in the pitch. This is one that probably leads you to believe that this might have been a free project on Dat Piff back in the day. It's like a looming kind of city outing smog kind of get here, just a taste of pizzazz, like an urban grime kind of fair just within the pitch behind it. And this is just good for some in between. So it's just within the fashion, kind of a meld between like Jay-Z from Blueprint 3 and then J. Cole from like Cole World just within the pitch behind. Just has that looming kind of city hop type fashion. Just one that's a little bit starry, but just in a more kind of just grim type aspect as far as nailing that particular vibe. Is some of those type ones like I can't. Welcome to the Mixtape just feels like a song like Dollar and a Dream 3 off of Cole World as far as this pitch kind of having this good type tone for that. Now there's a series of songs on here that do have like some Mudhouse type vibes, like I was saying. Some of these ones on here, like Here's Your Song, are some good pitches for that. It's like a dreary kind of afterthoughts, ladies' haze kind of get within those tones. Definite J. Cole flavor, I would have to say, just like Cole World, just some coffee shop kind of ilk as far as this pitch kind of happens. So it's just the tone behind that, just definite concepts of this in between kind of Chris Day type outings as far as this pitch kind of happen, just kind of an overcast type, just cooler out type fair just from the pitch behind it. Just standard Tuesday, Wednesday type makeshift, and maybe stuff to do the next day. Not so much go out for drinks within the fair, but just a concept, but just like a standard kind of simple coffee, like bagel, something like that. Some of those type aspects just in the tone behind it. It's more kind of composed type aspect within the tones behind it. There's some other ones on here within some of those type fairs. I'd say I Suppose is another nice one for that. It's like a jazzy but woozy kind of after worship dreary to kind of get here. Just get like a late coffee, chill, kind of jovial commerce that I'd say about this one. Just good for some crisp outings. So yeah, songs like I Suppose and Here's Your Song are definitely some good Mudhouse type ones, and this one is cooler out pitch like that September, October, November type fair. Then some other ones on here like Allow Me to Explain. And another one that's kind of within that fashion, within a relative type sense, would be After Every Single Thing. It's like a drifting kind of cloudy day malaise kind of get here. It just reminds definitely of like Tech 9 Day Shift Rumination. It definitely reminds of like some Tech 9 kind of day shift rumination just within those aspects behind it. It's like a mindful type one to kind of get here. So some thought provoking ones just within a sense, kind of more not. It's just within the sense of like mild kind of backpacker type appeal. Just that the construct of this having like extra thoughts is some of those J. Cole type ruminations. Not quite as much Eminem, Hobson, Tech 9 type ruminations, but this one is probably a close one to Tech 9, but just within the aspect, not as haunting, not as like ghastly, but just within the pitch of this more coffee shop ruminations. Maybe you smoke like a brief L within some of those type pitches, but it just doesn't feel as commonplace with like the smokage on here. There are like a mild mild amount of smokish on here, but it's a little bit more of like a more thinking type project within the pitch behind it. So just kind of the concept, but just like more kind of standard blue collar type push within the aspect of this, like some rumination. There's some good type tones for that, just some mindful type stuff with some of these songs here. Another one just like that is Allow Me to Explain Myself. It's like a beleaguered kind of usual slag makeshift push to kind of get within some of these aspects. Just some dreary kind of J. Cole thoughts that I'd say, but this would still be a good song to toke one to, despite the fact that that may not be the incline of like this particular album to say. I still would say these are some good type moments to kind of have like some good type fare, because Novi Novak's pretty good lyricist within some of those type pitches. So just to kick back, kind of kick your feet up some of those type pitches, toke a few, and just have the aspect of just having some good times. Getting like, I mean, you would think that this would be more kind of coffee shop, kind of more kind of like more coffee shop, Starbucks, and Panera Bread type fare within those particular pitches. But I would definitely say within the aspect of just like a cooler type day, just picking up like a hot pizza, some of those type pitches, smoking like a swish or some of those type fares, I would definitely say within the aspect could probably be pulled off within some of these. Just some good tones, just some good mixtape type songs on here, which is a pretty good pitch that just takes it back mildly to like some mid 2000s type fare DJ drama type. And it's a real excellent type one. That's probably one of the best songs in the immediate fashion of doing that would be Could It Be. It's like a vintage kind of DJ drama mixtape soul to kind of get in like a city stepping sense. I would definitely feel like this just reminds me definitely of mid 2000s Jeezy. It had to say it's like a throwback sparkler. It had to say pretty lit type song. It's something that Jeezy would have done with like a song like Go Crazy or Circulate, some of those type ones, some of those type pitches. So just thinking some of that type goodness. Some songs like Mr. 17.5 from like Inspiration and Recession and Thug Motivation 101, some of those type pitches. So it's just good type fair to harness Jeezy within those aspects. Definitely probably could use another song like that on here, but it's a good type appeal. Novi Novak pulls off that particular style pretty well. Villainism, the title track's another nice one within that sense. It's another DJ drama type S-type one. It's like a neighborhood and city commerce and like a typical brushy day to kind of get within those aspects. Good song to get shit done. Some usual push about this particular song. It's just an overall steady type one. So Villainism is kind of in between like some mid 2000s kind of DJ drama, Don Cannon type fare with like a mild trace like some J. Cole typeness, just within a more city hop type fashion. So it's just some of that 70s type soul mixtape type fashion, but also with a little bit of early 2010s Cole World type fare within it. Kind of a fusion of some of those particular type ones, but it translates well, so it's a good aspect. Is This Life's another quality one within those pitches. It's another dreary type one within some of those Mudhouse type pitches. Just a little bit more of a ruminating type ones, like a rainy and dreary kind of Is This Life's like a rainy day and kind of dreary contemplate, kind of get within those aspects. This extra time kind of soul and makeshift, I would definitely feel like this makeshift out, and I would feel like here just typical kind of glum day errands just within the pitch behind it. It's like some typical kind of glum day errands just within the pitch behind it. So it's just good aspect to just a good aspect to kind of have some of these, I'd say, within the fair. Just the concept, this is the concept of what I was talking about. This is the concept of what I was talking about with this being more of like a backpacker type album. It's not so much backpacker in terms of the concept of it just being more square like, but it's just within the pitch of just having more extra thoughts that are just a little bit more rumination in mind, like a healthier type sense. It's not as full bound. Like I don't want to say full bound that Novi Novak ditched the smoking and like drug type fare and just more recreation, but just within the pitch that this is a little bit more upkempt of a project comparison. It's a little bit more composed within the sense. It's more in like a J. Cole type fashion, where if he does smoke, it's only like once or twice a month, something within those relative type pitches, just a little bit more productive within a sense. Not so much like a hustler kind of productive, but just in a more kind of traditional blue collar type fashion. Just a little bit more of like a tidy version of Kanye West, not quite as flamboyant, and just a little bit more like J. Cole, just within like a relative kind of just mild kind of still hustled type sense within the pitch behind it. So it's a good type tone for those. But then I'd also say I do this right here as a quality one within those pitches. It's like a spiffy kind of city pizzazz, good two-step, early 2010s reminder to kind of get within those aspects here. Just kind of a backpacker venue step and kind of get within some of those pitches. So I do this right here. It's just the typical kind of city sparkle just within the pitch. Just feels like something that J. Cole would kind of do with like a more type pitch, like a good dance club type pizzazz, like something that's kind of a lyrical type song, just a thought-provoking type one, but also has like some relative dance groove about it. Just within the pitch as far as that particularly going to go. So it's just within the aspect of something, this it's kind of a tone switch up with some of these type ones. Now I do like this is a good type one to kind of get within this aspects, but it just feels like more of like a mindful type dance song within those pitches. So it's just kind of this is an example of one that when you think of Common or folks like that would kind of do like super lyrical type songs, but maybe the lyrics kind of overshadow like the concept, like the radio bounces, just the pitch behind that particular one. It's kind of the appeal. Novi Novak probably I probably would have said the public relations factor probably needed to be a little bit more radio oriented for I do this right here. It's a good type pitch for the most part, but it's just within the pitch that is just a more lyrical type one within the aspect of a little bit more kind of just mindful type one within the pitch, but it's a good type tone. So it's just some ones. So there are some ones for like more kind of step out type fair songs like Villainism, songs like Mind Playing Tricks, Dragon Sneeze, I Do This Right Here, There's at least a couple other ones, Friends and Enemies, some of those type pitches. Welcome to the mixtape, just within the tones behind it. So it does have like some relative, like a good this couple, one or two, maybe two or three servings, like some good kind of TGIF type step out within the pitch behind it. But for the aspect, a lot more of this just has more kind of coffee shop, just kind of in between, kind of Tuesday, Wednesday type, just commerce within the aspect behind it. So it's just within the pitch. So 10 out of 10 score. The social score I'll probably give as a result, I'd probably say like a 9.5 out of 10 just within the pitch. I definitely feel like this album need another like dynamite kind of fiery type one like Dragon Sneeze. I just think another follow up is just that's like a killer type song just in the pitch. Within the aspect, I just feel like need to be not so much full bound like this album doesn't have more hits on here, but just the pitch that this is just kind of like one of the biggest teasers on here because the aspect that this dynamite type song just needed one that's a little bit more snap. Something like Hooked on the Field definitely would have been a pretty good type pitch, or Bang This, some of those type ones within the tone behind it. Just being able to say that could have been some good aspects to have gotten some further type flair. So it's just the pitch. Probably could have used like another song like Friends and Enemies as well as far as those pitches kind of happen. Just another one to kind of see what else Novi Novak could have done with that recovery era type style, just to have some more adaptations towards it would have been some excellent typeness. Could have been some excellent typeness to have kind of gotten. This album does have a lot of radio appeal. It's just within the pitch. It's just too bad that Novi Novak was just not able to full bound kind of break through. But it's just within the pitch. I do feel like this album probably could have used a guest or two just within the pitch behind it. Some type folk that could have happened if he would have had some Slimers, some folks like that could have hopped on some of these, done like a posse song or two, done like a good smoking song, done like some stunt and flex type songs within those pitches, good car type song to kind of have some cruise rounds, and some good type songs for like some more cut loose within the patch. And it's a little bit more composed. It's like a good kind of more, this would just be like a real excellent kind of alternative and cousin to Cold World, the sideline story, just within the pitch. So it's just basically like within the same vein as that, which is some good type pitches, just the way it nails that. So just with 9.5 social. So in terms of future, like Novi Novak, I'm not sure what album came out after this particular one. I'm going to get to some more of these as far as those pairs going to happen, but I know he has dropped a series of albums as Rob Level within those pairs. Once again, the information on Novi Novak is kind of scant, so it's just within those pitches, but excellent type fair here. This is definitely one of Novi Novak's best. This would have to say full boundness within the pitch. I mean, I do find myself wanting more turn up songs, but within the pitch, this does have a pretty good balance. Just the aspect of what it nails is real mostly supreme, I'd have to say.